Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you in part by Mays Sandwich Shop, serving delicious hometown favorites to the West Lawn community since 1947. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, bringing you the latest news and commentary on baseball.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Hockey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup.
College football.
The Big Ten championship lies on a measurement.
Did he get it? No! He didn't get it! Penn State holds!
They brought back the fun, they brought back the excitement, and now they've brought back a Big Ten championship. The Penn State Nittany Lions are Big Ten champions.
And the NFL.
He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl! Brady has his fifth! What a comeback!
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Going to be where Keenum's going to try to work the ball on the boundary. Keenum steps into it. Pass is caught! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win it!
Well, there you have it. Welcome to the NFL Divisional Round playoff recap here on episode 251 of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. And wow, what a way to cap the Divisional Round playoffs with the Saints-Vikings game just ending, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, and I mean, it was unbelievable. You know, one of the things that stuck out with that call is I know sometimes people rip on Joe Buck for any reason they can. I'm kind of one of those at times. I am annoyed by him, but it's usually not like his. Like, a lot of people are annoyed that he doesn't get excited about plays. That's not what annoys me when I am annoyed with Joe Buck. I thought that was an amazing call. Like, when you listen and he just like,
that was great.
Unbelievable!
Yep.
Like, that's cool. That's one of those plays and play calls that you're going to hear for a long time.
Yeah, that's one for...
Or at least all week till the Eagles beat them next week. So.
That is one for the ages right there. Saints-Vikings, what a fourth quarter in Minnesota. And the dream of Vikings fans everywhere is still alive. And
the chance for the
first
team.
time in 52... Well, the first 51 attempts, it never happened. Will it happen in attempt 52? Will the Minnesota Vikings become the first team to technically host a Super Bowl? And, all I have to do is come to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to dispatch the Eagles, who beat the Falcons yesterday, also in thrilling fashion, having to hold on fourth down. Fourth down, but in the fourth quarter as well. They escaped that one 15-10. So we got chalk in the NFC, 29-24 Vikings over the Saints, 15-10 Eagles over Falcons, and it will be Vikings at Eagles next Sunday. Now in the AFC, things didn't exactly go as expected, although it started that way with the Patriots having little trouble dispatching the Titans, who, albeit, scored first, but it never really was in doubt. And then we got to today, and, the Jaguars, they did what a lot of people thought they couldn't do, and that's win in Pittsburgh twice in one season in another exciting game. All the games were pretty exciting at points, right. And 3 of the 4 this weekend went down to the fourth quarter or the final seconds of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome and really all the NFL could really ask for, save for no big-name quarterbacks left other than Tom Brady.
Right, yeah. I mean, thrilling games for sure, but now you have Case Keenum against Nick Foles and Blake Bortles against Tom Brady. So obviously the eyes are on Brady when it comes to the quarterbacks, but you can't overlook what the other three teams have done as a collective unit without big name quarterbacks or names that haven't become the epitome of the position. Keenum, a journeyman. Bortles, a struggling
who is
high
making
round
himself
pick.
some money.
Yeah,
man.
for sure. And and Foles, who's had his moments with the Eagles years ago.
Yeah.
And has proven he can do it at times, but right now most people see him as a don't screw it up and we'll be okay.
Right. And I don't know if that's going to be the case this time, anymore moving forward, but it kind of was the idea that people had certainly for the game this week, that if Foles could just not screw it up, they should be all right. I think that was a little bit kind of underselling the Falcons, but honestly, when you take a closer look at the Falcons and what they've done, kind of the last 2 weeks, they kind of overachieved in terms of how far they got, because I think they only scored 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks, and 2 of them came off of muffed punts inside the other team's red zone.
Yeah.
So man, for a big offensive threat, and then all year, Matt Ryan was 1 for 18 on targets to Julio Jones inside the red zone.
Wow.
First of all, I'm
That's
kind of surprised
awful.
he only had 18 targets inside the red zone.
That's about 1 a game.
Right, exactly. And he had 3 in the last, and that can't be true. That had to be going into the game because he had a reception.
Yeah, you would think
in the red zone last night. But yeah, it's still just kind of crazy. And I know there was a big discussion on his being underutilized and the offensive coordinator and calls there. We'll get into that when we talk about that game. But yeah, great games. And like you said, while people may be like, oh well, this doesn't have the names. Well, the Vikings and Eagles were battling it out for the top 2 seeds for the most of the
month.
year, and jockeying for that home field advantage, up through week 16 when the Eagles were able to lock it up. And it was that ugly game on Christmas night against the Raiders, and everybody said, oh, that's terrible, well, will it even matter? Will the Vikings? Well, yeah, now that matters a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, it doesn't matter as long as you get one of the buys. Well,
No.
that's true to a degree, but we talked about a scenario in the other division or conference too, where there's a big difference between 1 and 2, and who you have to play. So, yeah, we'll get into those as we talk about the games, but yeah, lots of interesting stuff happening. So
Right.
it was fun.
So we get East Coast bias because both of the conference championship rounds will be hosted on the East Coast. Philadelphia,
That's where the good football is.
right. Philadelphia will host the Vikings, and the Patriots will host the Jaguars. So before we get, let's find out how. Yeah,
I've watched it already twice.
let's find out how we got here. So we're gonna take a look at the first game of the weekend, which does features Justin's Eagles in Philadelphia hosting the Falcons. So we'll pick it up here from the beginning. We won't watch all of this, but we'll let it play as we talk about it. We'll try to nitpick here how the teams played and then focus on some of the bigger plays of the game.
Yeah, so this first one, I know they're talking about how it was a terrible throw, and it was. But if you watch, Nick Foles did slip, much like Matt Ryan slipped last week on the game-winning touchdown. But it set up a perfect scenario because they drew the pass interference and were able to go down the field. And then you get a big run, and I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, this is awesome. And then I see the ball laying on the ground, and I'm like, oh, no, not awesome.
Yeah.
That's when I'm going to text you.
It?
Yeah, and they're marching right down. It's going to be great. So, sorry. And then I was going to text you and just be like, take him back. But I didn't mean it, but it was just frustration at that point. And then the Falcons, right down the field, and I don't know.
Well, I mean,
that first drive, the Falcons were able to do the things I was worried that the Falcons were going to be able to do. I was surprised to see Tevin Coleman be the lead back yesterday, though.
Well, Devontae Freeman has an ankle or knee issue, and they're not sure if he needs surgery. So that could explain a lot of the reasoning behind it. Now, Freeman had one of the big catches near the end of the game, I believe. But we got to see replay in action yesterday a few times. I'm sure they'll come up here as we're talking about one that went I don't want to say in the Eagles' favor because I think both times the call was made correctly. I think the first time was, did they rule it? They were checking to make sure it was a catch, and we thought it was a catch, and then the next time it was ruled a catch. I think the Eagles were hoping it wasn't a catch, but it was a catch.
Yes.
Both times it was a catch. One time it helped the Eagles, one time it hurt the Eagles.
Yes.
But I don't think either of them were the incorrect call. I think they got both of them right.
Well, see, I thought you were talking about on the last drive of the game, they review the 3rd and 6, and it becomes, they ruled it a catch and they ruled it incomplete. It became 4th and 6, and they got a big pass to Julio Jones, which eventually keeps the drive going. But, like, there were a number of reviews, and I thought they got them right in the Eagles. Now, I'm biased, for the Eagles, but as you can see, it was going back and forth. We're, 10 minutes in here, and the Falcons got the ball. The Eagles couldn't really get much going offensively early on. But, the Falcons weren't exactly, doing it either. Julio Jones, you know what? This is one of those things, and we see this kind of when we watch all the time. Guys will, sometimes stick to their scheme regardless, and they put single coverage on Julio Jones a lot yesterday.
Did.
Now, not every time. Like,
at the
sometimes,
end of the game, when it really counted, though, they were in single coverage.
Yeah.
Man up.
Single coverage
on
on
Darby or Mills or whoever.
Right, exactly. It's pretty crazy.
The Eagles' defense got it done yesterday.
Yeah.
They bent at times, but they didn't break, and we saw, when the Falcons got down to 1st and goal inside the 10, they were like the 8 or something like that. I know you were texting me some things that I don't think I'm going to repeat here now, and I was thinking the same thing, like, here we go. Like, this is, like, any time that I'm sitting here watching a game and you see a team that you want to win, and
on that play right there, I thought Nick Foles had the ball and literally didn't know what to do. I was like, I'm like, keep going,
keep running, fool. And of course, they flashed something up on the screen, the stats guys, that said the Eagles had never allowed a point this season inside of 2 minutes of the fourth quarter,
which is crazy.
It is crazy to think about that, but
like no garbage time, nothing.
Then Steve Sarkisian decided to kind of get cute.
Yeah.
Inside the the 10-yard line.
Yeah. This was the drive that really started to turn things around. The Eagles relied on the offensive line, and they got it going.
They got a nice play call here.
Yeah, great
creative
play calling.
The Aguilar, basically an end around, little play action or a little pass read option kind of look here.
Man,
and,
talk about a guy who has revived his career. This play, oh my gosh. Talk about getting cute. Trying to run the same thing, but the opposite with Mac Hollins the other way. It would have been
Aguilar.
the same way.
Yeah, it was. No,
okay.
It was Aguilar came across this.
Okay.
He came across the other way and tried to give it to Clement. It was a bad handoff.
And this is one of those where I saw it and I was like, oh, Foles got it, but he was short. Because, I saw he was being tackled at the time. So, again, they reviewed it, nailed it. They got it right. But then, LeGarrette Blount, that was a great block there.
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount. And, then you're like, oh, man, they got the running game going. This is what they needed to do.
So you're super happy.
Yes.
And then this happens. What were you thinking when this happened?
I'm thinking they're starting to get to that point where, you can make these mistakes when you're playing the Raiders, when you're playing, but, in the playoffs, games come down to that. And missed tackles like that, you don't see teams make lots of little mistakes, but then they usually add up in the playoffs, especially. But yeah, they were able to get some pressure on Matt Ryan finally for some long third downs. Here I lost my mind. And I get it because it was a really bad punt, and everybody's kind of doing what they're supposed to. If you can't hear it, you can't hear it.
In the moment, I understood why Eagles fans were upset. I understand why you're mad at the players. I understand why you were mad at the special teams
but
coach.
It's not like it was a bomb punt and somebody was trying to make a play.
It was falling where players are still blocking, and you know that
it was a 20-yard punt.
Who is their returner? Who was back there?
Kenyon Barner, I think was.
Kenyon Barner,
and he's
yelling to get away, but and you see the one guy, he immediately runs away. They were doing what they were supposed to do. It's just bad bounce.
But then that play,
bad bounce, and there's Freeman on the touchdown. I thought it was later in the game, but there it was to give Atlanta the lead. In the second quarter,
and that's when you're like, oh man, the Eagles have played so bad. And we're still in the lead, and now they have another mistake, and you start thinking, well, how many mistakes can they make and still overcome it?
When I texted you that the mistake here was by the Eagles' veteran leader, by Malcolm Jenkins, who we know and we tell our kids at Wilson West Middle School, if you're in the secondary, it is not your job to worry about the quarterback when he starts to roll out.
Right.
You must stay in either your zone or on your guy.
Until he crosses the line.
Until he crosses the line.
Right.
Ryan was not across the line.
But
Jenkins
this was
came up.
huge. This play right here. Nope, sorry.
Well, this play right here sent the people I was watching the game with into a frenzy.
Right.
Because Foles missed wide open.
Yeah, he did. Right.
Wide open. I don't know who that was, like backup tight end. I'm not sure. It wasn't Selleck, though.
I think it was Trey Burton.
Okay.
Who's a tight end they're probably not going to be able to bring back. They're probably only going to have Ertz of the tight ends that are.
Yeah, Selleck's in the last year.
I say of. I think they have 4 on the roster. I think they're only going to be able to keep the top 1, essentially. Ertz is in the last year. Unless he takes a pay cut, they're probably not going to be able to bring him back.
Who, Selleck or?
Selleck.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought you said Ertz there.
Sorry. Ertz will be the one that's back. Yeah, Ertz will be the one that's back. Sorry. Yeah, some big plays.
Fletcher Cox was a beast last night.
And this, I almost lost my mind. When they threw the flag, I'm like, again, the ball went 10 yards after it was deflected. Like, that's a simple thing. That's not a penalty. But I knew it was reviewable.
See, I didn't know that you could review that.
Right, so I knew you could
review
review that, so I wasn't that worried because I knew that it had to be blocked because of what happened.
Right.
Even though, man, that guy was about to, because that was one of the guys the ball hit. The guy actually, I think the ball hit like almost 3 Eagles. This play.
This was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. And is a huge outcome on the game.
Right.
Because honestly, even if he knocks it down, then it's 3rd and 8. Instead, it's 1st and 10 at the 50.
I'm not really sure what he was doing when he tried to catch it. Like, what was that? Why do you?
I think he was trying to like basket catch it.
But
like
why?
I don't know, because he's not a receiver.
What is that? What are you doing?
Oh my gosh! But that was a huge heads
an
up
NFL player.
Yeah. You should know better.
The self-awareness. Trust me, we're aware that we're not NFL players. You don't have to tell us.
But you know what I've never done? Dropped an interception in an NFL game.
You know what I have gotten? An interception in a Scholastic game. So
there you
experience.
There you go. And that was a great catch. Get out of bounds with 1 second left.
Yeah.
You know?
Hometown
and then,
cooking right there.
Boom.
We saw that
Jake Elliott makes up for it. Just when I'm so angry, you come back and totally redeem yourself. He ended up having a great game the rest of the way. So, and then the defense was really strong in the second half. Shut Atlanta out in the second half, which is incredible.
Yeah, for an offense that last year was putting up 30s easy.
Right. So, in reality, all 10 points Atlanta got came off of turnovers. Now, the one, they drove the length of the field after the fumble on the opening drive. But, they scored 10 points off turnovers, and the defense shut them out in the second half, and it was needed.
Let's jump ahead a little bit here.
Yeah, because we'll jump ahead and
get closer to the score,
right?
Or the Eagles take the lead
for
good.
Yeah, I thought they were going to challenge this because not Ertz.
Yeah,
it is. He looked like he bobbled it, and I don't know that he regained it and got both feet down, but I'll take it. And man,
Torrey Smith.
Yeah, the guys who people have said need to give more. They were talking Foles and Jeffrey weren't on the same page. Well, they had some big plays this game. Torrey Smith had some big plays this game. That's, again, when I was like, oh, my gosh. Because
you're welcome.
It looked like it was one guy to beat there, for the first down. In reality, there's probably a second guy, but you're starting to wonder, man, how many field goals can we get?
Right.
I know they had a touchdown. It looks like field goals because of the missed extra point. But this is the one I was talking about where Freeman just whiffs on the block, and Matt Ryan gets up and lets him know he whiffed on the block. And that's when I sent you, maybe that's why Coleman's playing.
Okay, yeah. See,
and
I had missed
during
that
this
part.
play, I screamed, not another screen pass. Go, go, go. Because they had run a screen pass the play before. So, perfect play calling.
Screens and checkdowns can do a lot for you. And when you've
can.
got a quarterback
in this play,
that's a little
Steven
unsettled.
Wisniewski on this one. Watch
Penn
him,
State,
too.
Penn
He makes
State.
2. Well, they
They're
showed the Kelsey one. But here, there's one.
Get out of the way.
Yeah, and then there's
Get
the
out
other
of the
one.
way.
Yeah, he leveled 2 guys. So a bunch of Penn State things were sending that one out. Guy falls down. I'll take it.
Ertz uses his face to get up.
Hey, good. That's what it's there for.
Connection to Wilson,
yeah.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so because of the presence of Wisniewski and what Penn Stater is on the Vikings? I know both Hodges and Mowdy started there. They're both in New Orleans.
Right.
So I'm trying to think of what Penn Stater's up in Minnesota.
I feel
'Cause
like
your dad's
is
email
there a
said
D
that-
lineman maybe?
Maybe. Trying to think of who's there. And well, we know that there's a Penn Stater on New England, not a Penn State football player,
Right.
but a Penn Stater, and Chris Hogan, who won the Super Bowl last year.
And there's Penn Staters in Jacksonville.
And there's Penn Staters in Jacksonville. Allen Robinson on IR, but Paul Posluszny,
right.
my favorite non-Dolphin
Yeah.
NFL player. So,
And they're to make it 15, which is big, to not be up by 2. And then here, this is the one, 3rd and 6. They rule it a catch by Sanu.
No, yeah, this is the one that I'm talking about.
Right.
So
And-
I was wrong. It was
Right.
They ruled it a catch, but it should have been an
To me, now I
incompletion.
know it's different because the goal line's not there, but that with the hand buckling and it being trapped on the back of the hand is similar in the sense of how Jesse James had the ball, in my opinion. I know there are people who are like, it's not the same thing.
Well, I said
But-
Jesse James' non-touchdown catch that should have been a touchdown was
What-
more of a catch.
And
than
I
what
agree with that
was.
because he had control and then kind of rolled over. Here, it was as he was coming to the ground. This is the one I'm like, single coverage on Julio Jones on 4th and 6. Like, okay,
Alrighty,
bold move, but
see how that worked out for you.
yeah. I don't necessarily see a Penn State one there.
Yeah, I didn't see one either.
There isn't one.
There
So
is.
we're not guaranteed it on the NFC side.
Well, I guess go Eagles if we want to see it.
Hey, there you go. You can say it again. So anyway, here we go.
How
Minute
about
19
Jaguars
left.
Eagles? I'd be good with that.
See,
Jaguars Eagles,
yeah.
Posluszny, and with
So people are complaining about the play calling here. I have no
I'm
problem.
complaining about the. Oh, you mean this first one?
So, well, for the series. So the first down, though, I don't have a problem with.
No, I didn't have a problem.
Second
with that.
down, like
I don't have a.
the shovel pass, which people losing their minds, they're like, "It was a fumble." No, it's
No, it wasn't.
not.
It was nowhere close to a
Right.
fumble.
But so second down, I have a problem. Third down, hitting Julio Jones on like the slant, like
Yeah, I don't
have a problem with that either. Second down was the biggest problem I had, and then fourth down, I was a little confused as to why they limit themselves here because
Right.
they weren't. The pressure wasn't an issue here, and this. While I want to be like it's not a catch,
That's not a catch.
I know, but they rule it a catch.
Oh, you're right. You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
So
yeah.
I know,
Mm,
I know.
No, now I switch. No,
See,
last night
so
I
you
texted
roll
you
him
that
out.
I thought it was a catch.
You roll them out and you limit yourself, and
Right. That's the biggest problem.
Single coverage.
Not going to Julio Jones who's single cover, but like you said, why take away half the field? Because you know Matt Ryan's not throwing back
they're
to the left.
right, and they're only on the 2-yard line, so it's not like the Eagles are going to have time to get pressure on. I know there was some talk Julio Jones wasn't exactly happy. He didn't say that's why what it was. He said I have to make the play.
Well,
but-
I said it looked like he jumped too soon.
Yeah. Well, because Matt Ryan does that all. That's the touchdown they scored last week was Matt Ryan standing, like falling away, throwing it instead of stepping into it and throwing it.
I'm not sure he would have gotten down.
And this is huge. Yeah. And they get the guy to jump. So then it's 1st and 5. And then Corey Clement, the undrafted free agent, is in there. And I think he gets the carry here then and is able to pick up the first down on the next one.
which ices it.
Yeah, undrafted free agent. When you have LeGarrette Blount and Jay Ajayi, Jay Ajayi who's had some ball security issues, but then that ends it. They're able to run it out.
Yeah, am I able to? Oh, jeez, jumped. Man, that's unfortunate.
But anyway, so you can look around if you
Well, I
want
was
to.
trying. I was gonna try and bring up the non-touchdown. I want because people were trying to tell me that it was pass interference, and I wasn't buying it.
No way.
Here we go. Let's see if I
Yeah.
can bring it up.
But to those of you that thought the Eagles would only have one playoff game, to which I was reminded of, It was just
on this show last week.
Yeah, it was just made very
not
clear.
By me, not by
no,
me.
It was just made very clear. Or to put it a little more specifically, that the Eagles would win as many playoff games this year as Dallas did this year. Now we just know that's not true, and now the Eagles have 2 quarterbacks that are better than the Cowboys. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you can say. So that might get the phone buzzing a little bit, or at least some conversation tomorrow for you. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the Eagles-Falcons, what essentially was the game here. I know the Eagles offense had to do a little bit, draw an offsides penalty, and then pick up the first, but this was essentially the game, this play. And let's take a look at Julio Jones and Jalen Mills at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
Little bump, incidental.
Right.
I don't like if Jones was throwing the ball while the bumping happened, it gets called. But I like they get their feet tangled. Like I don't think Mills ever pushes him.
Both
they bump.
Jones initiates the contact and then keeps running, and Mills just keeps running with him.
I think there would have been a better case for it if Ryan had thrown it. When
Absolutely. If he had thrown it and Julio Jones was going to the ground, they absolutely throw the flag.
But I think Jones slipped. Like I don't think Mills pushes him. Jones slips right there.
Right.
And then Mills just rides him because his momentum is still carrying him that way. But the ball wasn't in the air.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think you make that
And Jones initiated the contact, and the ball goes through his hands.
I'm not sure he's coming down in bounds.
No, I don't either. And listen, I like Julio Jones. I like him a lot. So he's got to make that play.
Good thing
he's got to make the play.
That up the whole time. I did not have it up the whole time, so that was good. I just had the empty ground here in the basement on display that we went and explained that entire routine there.
That's all right.
So final thoughts on Eagles over Falcons.
Eagles did what they need to do. The score indicates an ugly game, and it was kind of ugly, but I thought from the second quarter on, the Eagles looked much better. Offense was able to move the ball. They need to be able to score touchdowns against the Vikings, which is even harder to do than it is score against the Falcons. I don't know that they're going to be able to score enough against the Vikings to get the job done. And I think the Vikings present an interesting offensive challenge, too, because I think while they may not have the high-end skill player, like they don't have a Julio Jones, but they have Stephon Diggs, and they've got Thielen, and they've got
Treadwell.
Right, they've got good players.
McKinnon,
but at the same time, I feel
Rudolph.
like they play more physical, much more physical than the Falcons are going to play.
And that defense.
I felt like the Falcons got beat up yesterday, basically, by the Eagles, especially in the second half. The defense better be ready to go, offensive line, because they're going to bring it. If the Eagles are getting to the Super Bowl, they're going to earn it. I'm not really sold on it happening, but Vikings look really good today. I know they let the Saints back in it, and that's kind of what it has to come down to. And I've said to you, I don't know what I want. I fear the Vikings defense much more than I feared the Saints defense.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you're asking me, who do I want to have to beat to go to the Super Bowl, Drew Brees or Case Keenum? I'm going to pick Case Keenum every time.
That's why...
Even watching him throw the game-winning pass today, because that was the defensive... The Saints gave them that game. Saints gave them the game. And they just... Yeah. Man. While I think the Vikings are the better team, I'd rather play the Vikings than the Saints, because I think the Saints are a really bad matchup for the Eagles.
Yeah, well, see, I actually had said the opposite to you. I said I think you want to play the Saints just because I think the Eagles can score on the Saints, and I'm not sure the Eagles can score on the Vikings.
No, I don't know that they can either, but I don't know that the Eagles could stop Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees eats the Eagles alive. But I don't know. The Saints really weren't able to run the ball at all the last month and a half of the season. They're only averaging 80 yards rushing a game the last 5 games. So, and only 40 yards last week. So, Yeah. Anyway, kind of interesting, but I think the Eagles are going to have to play it up. I sent this to you, so like it gets old. Teams playing the underdog thing. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun when it's your team that's getting to do it. So I'm going to do the us against the world thing, and hey, no one on NFL Network this morning they said the Eagles winning that game last night was a fluke. They have no chance against the Saints or the Vikings.
Or the Vikings.
Yeah. Now, not the NFL Network didn't say that, but an analyst on the network said that this morning. Well, good. I hope, I had heard that the Vikings will open like 4.5-point favorites. Good. And you know what? Great. Let it happen. Let everyone think they can't win. I told you the Eagles had gotten, we said this on the show last week, where the Eagles had gotten to, that was the success mark for me. So they had already reached the successful season mark. They're above and beyond that now. Everything else is extra to me. During the game I'm going to want them to win, and I'll be disappointed if they lose, but they overachieved when we reset the goals, when the MVP got his knee busted. Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about the NFC matchup here, but we want to roll through the other three games first. And quickly, Titans at Patriots. This one did go as expected. Patriots started a little sluggish, and Titans were able to capitalize, and they got on the board first. But after that, it was all New England. The Patriots scored 21 second-quarter points to take a commanding lead. They went on to win 35-14. And, it was as expected. I don't really know. It was never in doubt.
I know there's word that Mariota got dinged up, and that's why the game plan changed, and why they didn't have him try to be more mobile and running and everything. But, Patriots, look, they were just running through the offensive line of the Titans.
They just looked overmatched.
Right.
And
it's interesting because some people were saying, how it was ridiculous that Mike Mularkey was kind of strung along, at the end of the season, and I agree, the way it was handled was awful. But somebody's like, honestly, do you think the Titans are headed in the right direction with him as the head coach? And it's hard to say that's the case either. And they said if you can't make that case, if you can't say, not that the coach has you where you need to be, but that the team is heading in the right direction with that head coach.
I don't know. I don't what do they have? They have Mariota, Henry, Corey Davis, Rashard Matthews. The offensive line has some issues. They can address it in free agency in the draft.
Right.
There's parts of the defense, that need to be fixed. But if you get rid of him, who do you bring in? Now you start over with new schemes.
I'll tell you who I bring in with this is
Chip Kelly.
Can you imagine if he left UCLA before he ever coached? Oh my gosh. That would be the most Chip Kelly thing ever, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be?
Well, it'd be a whole Bobby Petrino thing.
Yeah.
But...
I make a run at Josh McDaniels is who I make a run at if I'm the Titans. Now, I say that, I don't know. They lost to the Patriots. Maybe we're just, they lost to the better team. The better team won. It's just, it wasn't competitive.
Corey Davis' first career touchdown.
And that was a heck of a catch.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel, I think a lot of people are overreacting. No one expected them to win. They gave it their best because you're going up against a juggernaut. No one expected them to win, so we shouldn't be surprised. And I don't really understand.
They were underdogs last week and won.
Right.
You win
they probably
a playoff
shouldn't
game.
have even been there.
Right. You win a playoff game. I don't understand how you can lose your job, but at the same time, and they said he's safe now, but it's just interesting that, do you view the Titans so much different from halftime of last week to the end of the game this week that you're like, oh, his job's safe now? You know what I mean? That, and I think that was kind of the point of the thing was literally a half of football changed the season.
But to me, they're moving. They were moving in the right direction though.
I agree. I understand.
This is Mularkey's only second year, right? This isn't more than his
so.
second year, is it?
I think so. You're right. Because it wasn't it Munchak or somebody was there?
I can't remember now all the coaching carousel.
Yeah, I know. It's all crazy.
This was hilarious. I was like, you were down, dude. Man, that would have been great if the Titans would have ripped him as he was going into the end zone.
I love when the refs stand around like none of them know what's going on.
Right? He was clearly down. His entire backside hits the ground. You tell me you didn't feel that?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I want to find out how long Malarkey has been the head coach, because I'm pretty sure it was only his second year.
But anyway, so you see the Titans are up 7-0, and then the Patriots happen.
Then the Patriots happen. So,
I mean, there's a lot of talk about how good the Jags defense is. The Jags defense did not look good today.
no.
Safeties were exposed. The 2 Antonio Brown touchdowns, honestly, they couldn't have been defended much better. They just were amazing catches. But they gave up 42 points. So,
All right, he took over as interim coach in 2015.
all right, who was the coach before?
He guided them to back-to-back 9 and 7 seasons, but made it to the playoffs this year.
Right.
Ken Wisenhunt was fired on November 3rd after going 1 and 6, and he was replaced by Malarkey, who eventually got the job. So this is his second full season. So 2 and a partial, 2 and a partial years from Malarkey. So obviously next year is a make it or break it year. And you could even say the first 6 weeks or whenever their bye is.
Absolutely.
You know, if they're not living up to.
And it becomes a lot harder now because, as you just look at it, all right, so the Jags are in the AFC Championship, and Houston is bringing back the guy who probably would have been Rookie of the Year, you know, had he been able to stay healthy. And scratch that. Would have been Rookie of the Year had he been able to stay healthy.
Yeah. Because no way Kamara beats him.
No,
quarterback's always going to win it.
And he shouldn't have, like, with the numbers he was putting up.
Did we miss the ridiculous call on Decker? Did we miss that already?
I don't know.
Did you see that last night?
I was reading about it. I didn't see it.
It was just one of there. I believe. Oh, here we go. This is my favorite.
Oh, when they called
they called
offsides.
A false start. No, they called a false start on the Patriots. They announced the penalty. They then decide to change it to be an encroachment on the Titans. And Tony Romo, who was broadcasting the game, says there's no way the center should be able to do what he did to get the Titans guy to move, which then caused the other Patriots guy to move. And I just couldn't understand how you can throw a flag, announce the penalty, and then change it.
Right.
Once you announce it, shouldn't that be the penalty who makes that final decision?
New York in their ear.
Well, they were wrong anyways. That one, and that happened, I believe, after the Decker call, which is absolutely absurd. Decker had converted on 3rd down, and they called him for pass interference, and they showed the replay, and nothing had happened.
Oh, I heard that on the radio.
Or not pass interference. Maybe they called. I guess they would have had to call offensive pass interference, but it was absurd. And that was it. Like as soon as they got that, they were forced to punt when it was 14-7.
Right.
And then they got the ball over again because they say that the Titans guy moved, which he did. But
because he was drawn by the offense.
The center was all herky jerky about it, and I was like, that's it. Like I watched the rest of the first half, and I was like, Patriots, no way the Patriots are losing this game.
Yeah, I turned it off.
So it was pointless to watch. You know, I think that's about all I can handle talking about that.
Well, that's all there really is to see in this one. The Patriots are going to be heavy favorites at home again. It's just the same old thing. So
yeah, and who they'll be playing is the Jaguars, not the Steelers that we fully expected. And Jacksonville couldn't score to save much more than their season last week against Buffalo, and their offense looked terrible while the defense looked great. Now
their only offense last week was fumbling shotgun snaps and then running for your life.
Then this week, their defense couldn't stop the Steelers, and the offense was able to put together 38, because the defense did get a touchdown.
Yeah.
But when they needed it the most, the defense couldn't do it, but the offense could, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Because every time the Steelers got close, Jacksonville responded.
Yeah, which is that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. I did not see this coming. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. And if you did see the Jaguars winning, I doubt you saw it 45-42 unless you're
Right.
Calais Campbell. So
Right, yeah. It's crazy to me that in post-game after the victory over the Bills last week, he mentioned 45-42. It's just,
yeah,
it's absurd. But, I mean, Ben, 37 of 58, 469 yards, 5 touchdowns. The offense was getting it done, especially in the second half.
the offense broke franchise records in this game.
Antonio Brown had 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell, he didn't get the 100-yard rushing, but he had a touchdown.
Right.
You can't ask for much more, but both defenses let their teams down in this one, other than the Jacksonville D getting that score.
I don't know if I sent this to you or not, but man, watching the third quarter, you're like, oh man, the Steelers. It felt like the Steelers were in control of the game.
It did.
And they were still down 7 at the end of that quarter. And I don't know if I sent this to you. I know I sent it to some people.
Yeah, it was 28-21 at the end of the
It felt like
third.
that quarter was a lot more than 7-0 Steelers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh
And the
controlled
fact that it
the first
wasn't
half of the
was kind
third.
of like, I don't know how this is going to go. But, like, you know, I've said it a million times, and I'll stick by it, even though it didn't hold true today. We've seen this movie. We've seen this movie how many times the Steelers win this game. And that's what I was saying to my wife last night when she's like, why are you convinced the Eagles are going to lose this game when it's 1st and goal from the 8 and the Falcons, you know, have a minute 19 and 2 timeouts and all that stuff? And I'm like, because it's the Eagles, and the Eagles lose games like this. I'm like, you root for the Steelers, and the Steelers win games like this, and the Eagles lose games like this. It's just what they do.
Sorry, Kerry Collins is talking to me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Technically, I was just tagged in the tweet, but I like to pretend that, you know, that was
right.
talking. Kerry said, wow, I thought I'd seen it all about Saints-Vikings. And then I'm assuming either a Tornado or Bulldogs fan said, sort of reminds me of McCaskey Wilson circa 1989.
Yes.
Which is, if you haven't ever seen that 1989 Wilson McCaskey game at McCaskey on a Saturday morning, it's one that allowed Wilson to have a perfect regular season that year with Kerry Collins at quarterback, and they went on to make the state championship, and they lost to Upper St. Clair at Hershey in December in a bitterly cold night. My dad tells me every time we talk about high school playoffs and Hershey and the state title game that he's never been colder than when he was at the Wilson Upper St. Clair game for the state title in 1989. But yeah, so I still can't get the highlights of Jaguars Steelers to load. But the fourth quarter featured 38 total points.
Pretty sure Pittsburgh has hacked the system and just removed them from the internet.
Right.
Delete it from history. It has not happened.
It didn't happen.
Right.
So we will completely ignore it.
Yeah, like, I did not see Jacksonville winning a shootout. That was not how I saw this go.
No. Especially when your quarterback, now of course I'm not going to be able to pull it up, but I mean, Bortles didn't have an amazing game, not like what Ben did.
You pull up the start of the Vikings-Saints game, and you know Joe Buck and Troy Aikman weren't watching the end of the game. They're just seeing like the end and his scores and stuff, and they're like Blake Bortles had a fantastic game, 14 of 26 for 214 yards and a touchdown.
214 yards and a touchdown.
Right.
Now, what he did get done was he managed the game. You know, he was
but
guy.
He had 14 completions for 214 yards and 1 touchdown in a game where his team scored 45 points.
Right. Fournette had over 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has the most touchdowns in one season against the Steelers in history.
Does he have 6?
He had 5.
Okay,
3 and 2.
he had 2 the first
3
time.
And 2, yeah.
Right, and that's only because they let Yeldon get one.
Right. Yeah. 4 rushing touchdowns. The
Yeldon, his
passing
numbers,
touchdown.
He was surprisingly effective today. That was huge to have him instead of Chris Ivory today.
The Bortles touchdown too. I think this was to make it 42-28. The one where it was play action to Bohannon.
Yes.
That was beautiful. Yes. What a play call. Now, I can't remember the offensive coordinator's name.
I know, but there was a lot of talk about that play call.
That was beautifully executed. When I saw it happen live, I was just like, wow. I like, hats off. That was perfect. I
it's
couldn't
funny
think of
that
a better play.
The one passing touchdown goes to a fullback.
Right.
But it was a beautifully executed play action based on plays that they actually run. Lots of teams run play action based on plays they don't run the ball.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And
not as much
it shouldn't
not
fool
as
anyone,
much
at
in the
least not
NFL. You know what I mean? But like, you know, lots of teams do that. They're like, oh, they'll run a play action out of a formation they never run out of. But this was a play they ran a lot, and yeah, it was good. You know, it is what it is. I'm
Yeah.
not going to try and take too much enjoyment out of this victory.
No,
but,
not at all.
Because it was not pretty watching this game. So
The cool thing is, despite the Steelers losing, with the Jaguars moving on, we get to see Chad continue to play.
heck yeah.
He's now in the AFC Championship game up in New England. I know the Hennies were in Pittsburgh for the game today, so he had some moments on the television. I texted you. I was like, Chad sighting, so we got to see him. So that's awesome. Hopefully, we could see them move on. And I know people are already talking about how the two played in the AFC Championship back in, I think it was in January '97, but it was following the '96 season. And it was Jacksonville's, I believe, just second time in the NFL, right? Because didn't they join in '95? Yeah, because Kerry Collins was the expansion quarterback for the Panthers. And Carolina and Jacksonville joined the same year, I think. Now it's starting to run all this meaningless statistics in my head, and all these years are just starting to run together that I'm second-guessing myself. But I believe Jacksonville and Carolina entered the NFL in '95 with the Panthers taking Kerry Collins. The Jacksonville Jaguars, in just one of their first years in the league, makes it the AFC Championship game. The Panthers were in the NFC title game. Now I'm really starting to second-guess myself because they lost to the Cowboys, and the Packers played the Patriots in that Super Bowl. So I don't think these are the same years that I'm thinking of.
I think Jacksonville, it took them a couple. They were good, but it took them a couple year.
Did Jacksonville enter the league before Carolina?
No. They were the same year.
They were the same year?
Yeah, they were the same year.
Okay.
But I don't know the exact years either. But
yeah, well, these stats aren't loading, and we're running late on time. So
yeah.
Jacksonville beats the Steelers 45-42. Surprised because I want to see the Patriots lose. I wanted the Steelers to win desperately, and
right, I was kind of rooting for whoever I think has the best chance. Now I say that I wasn't. To be clear, I was not rooting for the Steelers, but I wasn't rooting against the Steelers. I picked the Steelers to win. There's a contest I entered where I had you enter in September and you pick the Super Bowl winner, and I picked the Steelers to win the Super Bowl. So it's not like I had a big stake on it, but I thought the Steelers were going to win, and that's fine, whatever. But I don't really take, I'm not hurt when the Steelers lose, even if it's who I had picked. That's just the way it is. And,
with the familial
I feel bad for my wife,
and
that's basically what it comes down to. She will say I don't, but that's not true. I feel bad for her. I do not feel bad for the Steelers. I feel bad for her.
Obviously, we wanted the Steelers to win, and especially because we thought that they could beat the Patriots. And
Absolutely.
I'm not disappointed the Jaguars won because it's the Jaguars. Why would I be upset about the Jaguars winning?
Right.
And also, Chad plays
and
for
Chad
them,
are on that
and
team.
Paul
right.
Leslie plays for them, and Allen Robinson when he's healthy. And I'm sure there's a couple other guys there.
So if the Jags win, we're putting in for Super Bowl credentials, right, to go to Media Day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we could get that granted, and I'm sure someone would pay for us to go to Minnesota in February.
Yeah, you know what? Never mind. You know what? As cool as that would be, Minnesota, February, we're cool. We'll just maybe do a phone interview. I don't know.
I think something like that. All right, so let's take a look at the early part of the Saints-Vikings game. Justin's going to walk through some of this stuff because I forgot I had something I wanted to do here before.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so here we go.
All right, so game starts out, and it is all Minnesota. It is all Minnesota. They, all that they were really able to do, they were getting stops early on. The Saints got the ball first, and they went 3 and out, and the Vikings marched right down the field and scored a touchdown. And then they stopped the Saints again, and then late in the first quarter, Breeze gets the ball and heaves it long, and everybody said that's a throw 5 years ago he makes, but this year is 5 yards short, and you can kind of see the difference. And so it gets picked, and essentially you get early into the second quarter, and it's going to be 17-0 Vikings. So obviously I kind of jumped ahead a little bit here, but Vikings were just taking care of business. They were doing whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, they controlled the
all of a
first
sudden
half.
You're just is this going to be the second game from yesterday where I turn it off because it's just not going to be entertaining, and you kept thinking, oh well, the Saints have Drew Brees, they've got a shot at this. They've got Drew Brees, they've got a shot at this. But every time that would happen, the Saints would just shut them. They would shoot themselves in the foot, or the Vikings would shut them down.
Right.
And then because you get here and the pass gets tipped and picked, and you're just like, oh well. And it's a big man to grab the back of your neck.
Right.
He wasn't even
Griffin
looking.
to Anthony
Like, he
Barr.
just,
We're just gonna keep
right.
moving along here.
So you you get here before half and
he
misses the
it.
kick.
It wasn't even close
No,
either.
and so you're like, oh well.
Did you see the Saints punter?
Yes, broke his rib.
Did he? I was gonna say
Yeah.
I think he broke some ribs,
Yeah.
but I didn't know if that was ever confirmed or anything.
I guess he said to the reporter something like that, like, "It only hurts when I punt." Somebody's like, and now he's got the title of his memoir when he writes it.
It only hurts when I punt.
Right. Michael Thomas has the greatest first 2 years of any receiver ever.
It's crazy to think about because you don't really hear anyone talk about him.
Right. I think that's because
I mean,
he
he
plays
went
in
to
New
Ohio
Orleans.
State.
He
So
plays in New
no one
Orleans
wants to
for
talk
Drew
about
Brees,
him.
and the team didn't make the playoffs last year. But like, I think with playoff receptions, I think he's over 200 receptions and like over 1,200 yards each season. Like, it's crazy, crazy numbers. He had 2 touchdowns today. Yeah, and next thing you know, it's 17-14.
Right, in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Early fourth quarter, so there's plenty of time left.
Right, because they get a touchdown, and then they got a pick, and then they got another touchdown. And then Case Keenum makes some
Beautiful
ridiculous
throw.
throws.
Jarius Wright.
This was a catch. It was a good call. They reviewed it. So the Saints challenged this right away because it looks like he's going to bobble it, but he gets his hand under
He's
it.
good. That's a catch.
Right, and then there's a shot down the sideline.
We're going to jump
and
ahead.
you can see. Oh, here they block the punt.
Boom. And this is where I'm like, oh,
so,
boy.
Right. So number 90 coming up the middle, obviously lineman. Number 7 coming off the
See
side.
Who's celebrating?
Yeah, you know who that is?
Michael Mowdy.
No.
Oh, I'm talking about who was
sorry.
jumping with him.
Oh, sorry. Number 7 is
Hill.
Taysom Hill,
Yeah,
BYU quarterback.
Right.
Yes. I believe a few weeks ago he had a tackle on special
did.
teams.
Right there. He comes off the edge, but 90 up
Now,
the middle.
Right.
Gets a piece of it. But we saw Michael Mowdy and Gerald Hodges were
And
celebrating.
Kamara whammy.
Yeah. Over the linebacker,
That's
Kendricks.
a running back.
Can't
Unbelievable.
believe it. 3 minutes to play, and the Saints are about to go up
Right.
21-20. And now you're thinking, wow.
Right.
We saw it happen last week between Titans Chiefs. Now we're seeing it between Vikings Saints.
Right.
And with Drew Brees leading the way, it's not as big a surprise.
Right, exactly. But, to put up 20 second half points on this defense, it's a little surprising. Or 21
Yeah.
second half points, sorry.
But Case Keenum and the Vikings come right back.
Yep.
They drive down the field. Great catch by Thielen, and with the penalty, too.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
And
Everybody talks about, and it's crazy when you're cheating and you still let them catch the ball. Like,
yeah, what a play. Wow, what a play. What a throw.
see, those are the plays that I hope they don't connect on next week.
And then a 53-yard field goal attempt. Everyone was so disgusted from a few years ago with the kicker who should not be named in Minnesota, losing the game to Seattle. I mean, obviously other things came into play, but a pretty easy kick was missed. Not so this time. Vikings take the lead, but under a minute to go, and you start to see, oh, well, Drew Brees is doing Drew Brees things and leading the Saints down the field.
Willie Snead, who overthrew a trick play pass to Kamara earlier in the game. Oh, my gosh, Kamara was wide open, and he just threw it on a line instead of throwing it with some air under it, let Kamara run under it. But, yeah, the Saints drive down, 29 seconds.
A 43-yard field goal in the middle. This should be automatic, and it is right down the middle by Lutz. So the Saints go up 24-23, and I know we had the spoiler early where we started the show with what happened here. But let's watch it again. 10 seconds left. Last play of the game. Keenum from his 30 connects with Diggs at the New Orleans 35. Saints rookie safety, was that Marcus Williams?
Yeah. If he just
lowers
holds
his head, he's not
he
even
doesn't have
looking.
to tackle him. You don't even want to tackle him. Just hold him. Let him make the catch. Hold him. Inbounds. Fall to the ground. And it's game over. Man.
Just disbelief.
Right.
Did I just see that? Did that just happen? Amazing.
That's a tough way to lose.
Oh,
That's a tough way for your season to end.
Yeah. But, hey. That's why they play the entire game.
We've been waiting all year, but the Saints defense pulled the Saints defense right there.
Look, he just lowers.
He actually, he doesn't touch him. I don't think.
Why didn't he? Like, why are you not wrapping? I don't like
situational awareness. That's all it is.
Like, you wanted a big hit there. I
think he's trying to just not let him catch the ball. When in reality, who cares if he catches the ball? But actually, if he catches the ball and you tackle him in bounds, it's better. The game is over. They're not going to get another playoff. But he had his head down. He just.
But like what you say, where was all the other help? Were they not in?
Well, there was another. They were man. No, they were man to man. I guess they were afraid of them getting a play, running up, spiking it, and kicking the field goal. But you know what? And then it gets reviewed forever, and they had to get Saints out. Look, the punter is one of the guys that had to come out because you have to kick the extra point, even though it's a 5-point game and nothing can happen.
And they just take a knee.
Yeah, and this is where my buddy was. We'll just leave it at very happy that they took a knee and did not kick the extra point. On a separate, completely unrelated note.
Absolutely unrelated. Has nothing to do with anything.
Many people had the spread at 5.5 points.
Yes. Yes, they did. So yeah, wow. Speechless. I not sure what to say.
Yeah.
The reason I went off screen for a little bit is I forgot I had an outfit to wear tonight.
Oh, man.
But, and I do want to put this on the record that I'm not celebrating the Jaguars' victory today. I'm celebrating the hope for a Jaguars victory next week.
You're just starting early.
I'm just getting ready. I'm just hopeful. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, there it is. That was pretty easy. I'm not sure if there's sound on it or not, but we don't really need the sound anyway.
No, we probably
make more sense because I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen during the reaction. So here is the Wilson equivalent of what just happened in the Saints-Vikings game. And maybe we can go full screen here. And then we'll bring it up for you. This is, I think, October 89. Wilson McCaskey at McCaskey. And we're going to get to see a couple minutes of the plays, but the biggest one is happening here at the end. Here, I'll jump ahead a little bit so we don't have to see all this good stuff here. With the scoreboard would be nice though. So there's 1:12 left, 13-7, 4th and 15 is the play. So it's not as the game ends. Look at those uniforms, man. We've got some of those at West still. I'm not joking either. That's the sad thing.
That high school size on
right, yeah, on 7th and 8th graders. Seriously, we have those red pants with the white stripes. We got the old white jerseys with the Bulldogs written across the back. And there is Kerry Collins getting ready to take the snap on 4th and 15. Drops back. Bullet. And who's got it?
Whoop.
Oh, there he goes. I believe it's Todd Bradburn, the tight end, all the way for the score. Yeah. Unreal. And like I said, Wilson went undefeated in the regular season and won the Lancaster-Lebanon League Section 1 title. And that game was a big part of it. McCaskey was a powerhouse in the late 80s and early 90s. McCaskey would actually beat Wilson in the regular season in 1990. But would lose to Wilson in the district playoffs, I believe, later that year. So Wilson got him when it mattered. I think that's how it played out. I know Wilson didn't beat him in the regular season because it's one of the only years, actually the only year I think that Wilson didn't win the league, but actually won districts. So, yeah, a lot of little fun thing that was fun that was brought up while we were talking about some miracle football finishes. So, all right, real quick, what's your thoughts on Vikings Eagles next Sunday?
I mean, as much as I'd love to see the Eagles keep it going, I just don't know that they have enough to beat the Vikings, especially if they don't have it going early. The Vikings, if they get off to a hot start like they did today, the Eagles don't have Drew Brees back there, and that's not a knock on Nick Foles. It's just
facts.
You're not one of the greatest quarterbacks, and I mean that as in, like, Drew Brees is one of the greatest quarterbacks. Like, he's an all-time great. So when you look at that, The Eagles need to be able to run the ball. This is so cliche. They need to be able to run the ball, and they need to keep the Vikings from being able to run the ball. Because make Case Keenum beat you. I know he's beat a ton of teams this year, and he just beat the Saints. But you know what? You got to make him beat you. Because if Case Keenum beats you, so be it. And you know what? And then the Vikings are the first team to play it, the home playoffs. And you know what? If the Vikings beat the Eagles, then skull Vikings for the Super Bowl, right? But obviously I don't hope that happens. I hope the Eagles are going to get that. I say that. That's on the assumption in the AFC that the Patriots get the job done. I don't see, watching the game today, the Jaguars-Steelers, I don't see how either of those teams would beat the Patriots right now. Both teams look so flawed to me. Now, look at the Jaguars last week to this week. You can see how much can change in a week. So who knows what that will be, but I just don't know how the Jaguars, even if they can slow down Tom Brady and the Patriots offense, you tell me Bill Belichick's not going to be ready for Blake Bortles and the Jaguars offense? Yep, Vikings 3-point favorites at the Eagles, and
Patriots
9-point favorites in the AFC Championship game.
9 points in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
a higher over-under in that game, which tells you people probably think it's going to be an absolute blowout. So, I would have to agree with it right now, though. My heart tells me, go with the Eagles, and obviously that's what I want to happen. But after watching the Vikings, yeah, I think.
So what you're calling Patriots Vikings Super Bowl?
Yep, that's what I think it's going to be.
All right, I'm going Jaguars Eagles.
Oh my gosh.
Jaguars Eagles Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh, that would be so
just because
amazing.
at this point, why not?
Amazing.
Why not?
That would be so amazing.
Why can't us?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Why can't us nearly 10 years later?
That's right.
Now, no one knows what the us I'm referring to is.
I do.
But, honestly, I'll be happy if 3 out of these 4 teams win the Super Bowl. No way I'm not rooting. Knowing what I know, I'm not rooting for the Patriots. Because if the Jaguars win, that's great. I'm probably rooting for the Jaguars. If the Jaguars make the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for the Jaguars.
No, I know that, absolutely.
Now, the Patriots make the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for the NFC team.
Right.
There's no debate there. So, I'd love for it to be Jaguars-Eagles, although I would hate to be rooting against the Eagles. But with Chad and Paul on that team, man, it'd be
say
tough.
that. You would love rooting against the Eagles.
In the Super Bowl, I did that once already because I rooted for the Patriots when they played them.
I will never forgive you.
Played them before, but man, how things
Look what
change.
you've done. Look what you've done.
How things
you
change.
did this.
Yeah, it's all my fault. So, yeah, I think that's it though. And
Yep.
unfortunately, we won't be here to talk about it next week because, it's Natalie's birthday weekend next weekend, so we're not going to be having a show. We will be together during the Jaguars-Patriots game. We'll be hanging out, a whole bunch of us, at a 5-year-old's birthday party. So good
That's
times.
our life now.
Then when that is over, we can come home and watch the Vikings-Eagles game.
There we go.
And then we'll be back the next weekend, Sunday the 28th, so 2 weeks from now. We're going to do our conference championship recap then with the Super Bowl 2 weeks from now, January 28th. So that's when you will hear from us again 2 weeks from now. So you can get more from us at jmnjrradio.com. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, like our page on Facebook. Since we do all our live video there, you'll want to make sure you like there. And like Justin always says, like and share, get the word out, help us in any way you can. We appreciate the support we get. Any shout-outs, anything to mention?
Happy birthday to my dad.
Yep,
yesterday.
a little belated for him. And I'll say it since we won't be on the air. I'll say a happy 5th birthday to Natalie in just over a week. And I think that's about it. So this wraps up the 251st episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Thank you for joining us.
Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
You can join us every Sunday for our take on sports. Until next time, I'm J-Raff.
And I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for watching. Nailed it.
Thanks for listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. Tune in every Sunday for the latest sports discussions from Joe and Justin. Each episode is available live
On Facebook Live.
and can be downloaded or streamed on iTunes and SoundCloud. You can interact with Joe and Justin on Facebook and Twitter, and stay up to date with the guys at joemaysandjraff.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is part of the JMNJR Radio Network. For more info, visit jmnjrradio.com.